Start.
Every day there are people getting married, devoting themselves to their spouse for the rest of their lives. As they are getting married, the officiant will ask the bride and groom, do you, Skylar Renee Smith, take Jamie Harper Lee to be your beloved spouse? Knowing in your heart that you will be a faithful friend and a loving companion. On this day, in the presence of family and friends as a witness, do you give your scared vow that you will always be with Jamie and support her in times of sickness and in times of health, in times of joy and in times of sorrow? Do you promise to love her completely, to consult and comfort her during difficult times, to laugh with her and to grieve with her, to share with her the simplest things, but the most enduring pleasures, to be truthful and to be honest with her and cherish her for as long as you both shall live? Cheating on your spouse is considered adultery. Adultery in the dictionary means having voluntary sexual intercourse between a married person and a person who is not their spouse. A primary example of adultery is the story of the Johnsons family. Bill and Samantha had been married for years. They met in high school and fell in love with each other. They got married at the age of 22. Soon after that, they had 2 kids. Samantha got a job being a CEO of the community's hospital, and Bill went working at a factory. Samantha would sometimes come home a little drunk, which strangely never concerned Bill. When she was happy, sociable, she was a very happy, sociable person. She liked to go out when she found time to go drink with her friends. Soon it became a habit, and she started not coming home on certain nights. One night, having drank a little more than usual, Samantha confessed to her husband that she was pregnant with another man's baby. When she was away from Bill, Bill was hurt beyond belief because he thought that they were just going through some dark times in their marriage and they would eventually get through it together. But he was wrong. He decided to file for divorce right away. Despite the fact that Samantha and Bill had 2 children, they stayed with their dad and went to their mom's house every other weekend. Adultery is morally wrong because it involves breaking a vow or a promise, and it is going against the Bible, also known as the 10 Commandments. Thou shalt not commit adultery. Adultery is the 7th commandment in the 10 Commandments. God established that a marriage is legally or formally recognized union of man and woman, or in some jurisdictions, 2 people of the same sex. As partners in a relationship, Jesus made a clear clarification on his command in Matthew 5:27 by including all kinds of lustful thoughts. Fantasizing about having sexual relations with someone in the eyes of God is actually committing adultery. Therefore, every day needs to avoid things that bring up immoral thoughts such as excessive songs, intense movies, and pornography. He also believes that we should avoid revealing clothing. Another reason why adultery is morally wrong to do is because people are breaking a promise that they created with each other. A promise is a declaration or assurance that one will do a particular thing or that particular thing will happen. Not only is it just breaking a promise, it is breaking one of the biggest promises of one's life. When someone decides to sleep with someone else other than their significant other that they married, they are taking a choice to break everything those 2 created throughout the relationship. And it is making the decision to go against the Bible, such as the 7th commandment. Couples say their spouse should put their marriage ahead of others' happiness. Adultery is offending the spouse, meaning they do not care about their spouse or their feelings. It can also make the other spouse that is being cheated on think that it's a sign that adultery spouse has feelings for someone else other than them, which can be extremely painful and unpleasant. To add on to that, adultery is immorally wrong because it weakens the foundations of marriage and family. It weakens the marriage because it weakens the trust between the spouses and builds up walls so they lack communication between one another. It also could cause, in somewhat vast situations, divorce. The spouse that was cheated on believed that their marriage is completely over because the spouse destroyed it and there was no way to rekindle what they had broken. The real question is, why do people commit adultery? An estimated 40% of American marriages experience at least one episode of adultery. Studies show that men and women cheat, but they often do it for the same reasons. While adultery is a factor in many divorces, half of American marriages survive a terrible affair. New social science and medical research is contributing to understanding the cause of adultery. And it is helping therapists guide couples who seek to repair damaged marriage. Whether you are lonesome at home because your spouse spends their time elsewhere or lack communication with your significant other, these problems should not be justified for adultery. Whatever complications someone is facing in their relationship exists for no reason. It means there is a chance to learn something. That is why complications in relationships exist in the first place. Some religious leaders and people of faith believe that sexual activity outside traditional marriage can spiritually fulfilling, and they argue that religious reactions on adult sex activity outside marriage are unrealistic and prudish given the ways in which American culture and society have changed over the past few decades. In this article, it says that having sex with other people is okay, and it is abnormal for people to just have a sexual interest in your significant other. This can be seen as a way around adultery, which is actually not being adultery. As stated before, adultery is when one spouse makes the choice to have sexual relations with another person other than their significant other. In this case, the spouse came to an agreement that it is okay to have sexual relations with other people. Even though it is still against the Bible's seventh commandment and traditional marriages, this is one of the few ways around adultery without actually committing the act. However, seeing that these people are not actually committing adultery means that it cannot be qualified or justified as adultery. So there really is no reason to commit it. There are many other ways in which you can avoid committing adultery, such as emphasize love and caring, enhancing or maintaining one's physical appearance, and rewarding them. This will also keep a relationship full of love and compassion. And when someone decides to let go of themselves or their bodies, not only do their bodies change, but so does the person. Which means that if they change, their spouse might see them differently and not like what they have become or what person they are turning into. Rewarding someone is also an effective way to avoid committing adultery. Also because by rewarding your spouse, you are showing that you care and you are proud of what they are doing. And you are keeping them happy by presenting them a gift every now and then. Avoiding infidelity and adultery can be a concern in committed relationships. Often individuals use harmful, controlling, or excessively shaming fantasies to keep their significant other faithful. Unfortunately, those behaviors are not effective and may harm the relationship even more. Keeping your significant other faithful is the best accomplishment by giving them more motivation and desire to stay faithful to you and showing them that you care and do love them unconditionally. Improving your appearance also keeps their attention. These will help keep them from drifting away from your relationship and make your time together more satisfying and, most importantly, positive also. All things considered, there is no justified reason to commit adultery. There are many ways that adultery can be avoided and many other options that people and their significant others can choose. By choosing not to commit adultery, you are not only saving your marriage from suffering, but you can also save your children. If you have any from going through and seeing their family apart, it is morally wrong to commit adultery because you are breaking a promise, commandment, vow, and going against the Bible, the seventh commandment. Malcolm Turnbull once said, "Let us be honest with each other." The threat to marriage is not the gays, it is lack of loving commitment, whether it is found in the form of neglect, indifference, cruelty, or adultery, to name just a few magnifications of the loveless desert in which too many marriages come to grieve. And my PowerPoint.
Got some PowerPoint stuff.
I just want that gift.